would call on stage Roman Gebhard and Matthis from Lunar Design. Hello. So do you already have your speakers on?
Right.
And your mics, everything's set. Okay. So you should also have the beamer and these. Okay. So it works like this, up and down. Exactly.
Great. Our time is running. 24 seconds we've lost already.
Okay, I think you really have to use this big mic.
Yeah.
Let me use that.
So, well, thanks for having us here. My name is Matthis Hamann, and with me is Roman Gebhard. We're from Lunar Design. We're a creative agency. And the question Andre raised was, who are the explorers of today? We would see ourselves as ones. We definitely think the creative industry is an exploring industry. Now, who are we? Does it work? Yeah, there we go. So this is us, basically. We're a multinational team of designers of all disciplines, of engineers, of researchers, and other creative thinkers. We think we're explorers, and that's why we're here today, and telling you a little about what we think design can do. And that's how our presentation is also set up. Okay, so that's where we're located, pretty much around the world. Lunar is a company that started in the Silicon Valley in the mid-'80s, so the time where technology and design actually started to really become an important aspect of delivering products to people that could be used. The two of us, we founded in 2006 an office in Munich. We have colleagues in Hong Kong and in Chicago as well. Sorry. God. I knew this was going to be complicated. So basically the field...
Poor design.
Pardon me?
Poor design.
This is poor user experience
exactly.
Design, yeah, definitely. So the largest button is not for switching to the next slide. So this is basically a little showing a little of the field. We work in by clients, so it's industries that deliver really technology, mostly that are consumer products, but also medical products. The projects can be huge corporations, but can also be startups. We kind of like startups when they're well funded, and what basically combines the work we do is there's always users, there's always people that the products and services and interfaces that we develop are tailored towards. So we have a strong passion for the people and users behind our products. I'm sorry, what am I doing wrong?
Opposite direction? Yeah, opposite direction.
Okay. There we go. So we've set up our disciplines to actually meet what we need to do. So we're design strategists, we're industrial designers and user experience designers, so also interface designers that deal with the design part of our projects, and we're engineers. Basically, what's most important to our work is that everything we do is user-centered. The user and people using the products are kind of in the center of our attention all the time. So we've basically established a very thorough design process because that's what it also takes, we think, to be an explorer today. Be very thorough and have the right process and tools that is based on user insights, but then really goes through a very thorough understand phase, and in creating still keeps involving users before we actually deliver a product or a service to our client.
Going up? Okay, down. So to get further into that, to tell you how we go about that into those phases, we have prepared a few projects that we wanted to share with you today. Okay, now I get it. So basically, Matthis mentioned already the areas that we work in, the fields, like different industries. So those are some of the projects we've been working on recently. So you see from medical to mobility to mobile communication to applications, so the whole range of projects. All of them are really creative explorer projects, we think. One project I wanted to share with you in special is something we did together for Siemens Bosch in Munich for the kitchen appliances. And the special thing there was really, they wanted to really, everybody's trying to connect the devices at home. Everybody's like, oh, how can we own the home? How can we connect all those devices? So technology-wise, anything is possible pretty much. So that's when it comes in, this whole idea of what do people really need? Because, putting more technology in our homes doesn't really solve a lot of our challenges. So that's why we came in, and especially in a company that's so technology-driven, it's almost a little earthquake that you have to create to really push them not to think about technology, but really first think about the users. So what we did is we visited people in their homes and really, to go through the different processes, what they do in kitchens, how they go about cooking, how they use the different devices at home, to really find out some areas where we can really innovate, areas where we can really bring a difference to people's lives. So you see, for example, I think that's something that happened to all of us is, you're at home, you're doing something, and you have to rush out. And you get in a cab, and then you realize, oh, did I switch off the stove, or is it still on? So that's something that really, on a daily basis, really, pushes people. It's like, well, is there something that can help there? Same thing here, number 2, this slide. So, you're out shopping and you're in the supermarket and you realize, well, I would love to look into my refrigerator because I'm not sure if I have that or if I still need something. So that's an opportunity also where technology could come in to really make a difference. And then, always the same questions of how can I save money because all the devices are using so much energy. So what we did is we took those insights from the user tests, those qualitative interviews that we had in people's homes, and we early used prototyping and prototype first experiences, how an application or a hardware could help to really solve those problems. In this case, it was even more complicated because it wasn't just a digital device, but it also needed connecting devices and how did they react back to the user, and really prototyping that to get further insights of how this service could be implemented even better and simpler and maybe even more non-technical. So this is the product that came out of it. So you see it's an app that runs on a smartphone, but that connects to all the devices. It's very simple. It's non-technical, which is big disruption for such a company like Siemens. And here you see even our idea with the refrigerator made it all the way through, which was amazing to us because it's almost a non-technical solution. So our idea is really integrating 2 cameras into your fridge, and every time you open the fridge door, it takes a picture, puts it up on the server, and that's all you need to know. You don't need another screen on your fridge. All you need to know when you're out shopping, I just open up my smartphone, I can take a look at what I have in my fridge. Which was amazing to us that it made it through, but it shows that oftentimes it's the small things that make a big difference. It doesn't have to be sometimes a huge, highly technical solution.
So another example of what design can do is a whole different thing. It is showing that design can, by creating a really bold expression, can make a difference. So basically, this is a project. What we do something like once a year on a global scale is like an internal project which we then actually promote. The challenge with this project, and you saw this device before, probably you wondered what are we looking at. The challenge here is taking equipment from your gym and finding a way of transferring that into objects that you would actually want to have at home. Most of the stuff today you wouldn't ever want to have at home. These are 2 worlds, your home, the interior, design, furniture, etc., and the equipment you have in the gym. So we went through a process identifying that this is a market niche also, that there is, what are the potentials, what would be the strategy for for doing this, for managing to create desirable objects that you would want to have at home for exercise. So we created, and we're coming to another thing that design can actually do, we created something like a virtual brand, identifying opportunities on the market, what that brand would be like, what the design for the brand would have to be, and worked really according to that. So we created a virtual startup within something like 3 months. We prototyped the products, so they were tangible and real and full scale. We always were interested in how not only the product itself, but the interface experience would be. We didn't want to have like tiny little interfaces stuck on the front of our exercise bike. This was an exercise bike you just saw, by the way. You'll see it again in a second. But we wanted to create, a whole complete new experience in the interface part of our product. So 3 projects we identified. One was an exercise bike, one was a rowing bench for home, and the third was a climbing wall, actually for the home. So here you see Vela. Vela is the result from this lunar exercise for the exercise bike. And you see it in its context, and you see it together with the immersive projection that we developed instead of a interface on a screen on the handlebar of the product. So it's a very immersive projection that will react to according to your performance on the bicycle. So by creating a paradigm shifting, really bold expression for a product category that is actually second interest to most of us, this created a real buzz. So we got for this and for the climbing wall really very, very interesting reactions. People wanted to buy it. There was a large desire, obviously, out there in the market. If we were a startup and this weren't just a study, this would have been a really successful start for a company. And this would have been something where we easily would have been able to gather funding, etc. So very iconic qualities, a complete new paradigm for a cycle trainer. Really high design quality and detail is something that we wanted to achieve and was fun for the whole team, by the way, obviously, as well. The climbing wall, same challenge. How do I transfer something that is happening in a boulder or a climbing gym into my home? Even though this is not my home, but we identified this as a if this were a brand, as a pretty much something that could be very much premium. That's also why we looked at images like this, and we came up with Nova, the climbing wall. With coming from Munich, we have quite a lot of climbers in the office, so we also wanted to make this a real professional, really working, serious product. So down to detail, it was really good. We really created a good boulder wall. Can you see this? Together with it, again, we thought of how would the digital the user experience be, and we thought out an application that would go along with the climbing wall, and that you'd be able to program certain routes that you take and record also the routes that you take. They were indicated to you by light on the climbing wall. You could also switch to ambient mode, since this is not always a climbing wall, but always sits in your apartment as a part of ambient paneling system. So we sought out something that is customizable, and you could, with panels 1 by 3 meters, place in your home. This is actually the result of it. So same design language as the product saw before. There is a third product went along with this. We had gyms all around the world contact us. This is exactly what we want to put, what we want to have. Where can we buy it? So this is a study, but it shows kind of the power of design, the power of design expression in this case.
So we're doing another switch where design could be going. So we looked at some design expression. Here it was a project that we did with a startup, with an inventor. He came to us with a really interesting little invention. It was about how you create espresso, quality coffee in your microwave. And first of all, we're like, whoa, this is strange. But then, once we dove into it, was a really good, some really good use cases, especially in office environments and where things have to go quick, but still the quality you don't want to compromise. And there, we helped the startup to really look at, the use cases where this product could be going. Because, I mean, it's not going to compete with Nespresso, but there are some areas where it's really just the perfect solution. So it was really about looking at the requirements, what the microwave is about, how this product could make a difference, and then creating a product that is really strong, and also what you've seen before on the bike and the wall, something very iconic, which, kind of burns in people's mind, and they keep on remembering it. And so we went through a lot of iteration of sketches. What is the right expression for this new product? Because it was a new paradigm. It was something that wasn't there before. And we did a lot of testing. We created prototypes. We tested them in labs. We drank a lot of coffee, I must tell. And we got to the right degree of where the product should go. And this was actually a product where they used crowdfunding to get the product to market, because there's a certain investment in tools and some of the setup costs. But so far it's been really successful, and everybody's talking about it in the industry. So I think we were quite successful in that one. One other area that design could go and lead, and in a different way of, kind of exploratism, is the whole area of service design. How we can design a service where maybe there's some touch points that are still physical, some are digital, but a lot of it is about the experience that you have. So this was a project Mo that we did with the city of Munich, and some mobility circles, also BMW was involved with it, where we really looked at what is the perfect solution for a city, for an urban area, to get kind of not rid of the traffic, but to make it really a more livable place. So, cities, there's congestion, there are lots of cars, and so what could be a solution to that where design could help with the prototyping to prototype the experience? So again, we had a very solid process where we looked at areas where we surveyed people, created personas, had first prototypes that we tested out in the field. And so we did an online service where we looked at a lot of people to get kind of insights, a lot of little snippets of ideas. We had expert interviews with mobility experts, with people from the city, from BMW, to really get all the detailed information out of it. And then we had qualitative user interviews where we spent time with people at home, where we really talked to them and really got out, how they use their mobility and what are the pain points and what are the opportunities that we can bring to the table. All that really helped us to formulate so-called personas, which are kind of stereotypical users, and those we then used to really prototype what the system could be about. So the system that we came up with was something that didn't rely just on one sole means of transportation. A big part really, was the bikes. It's still the public transportation, but also we acknowledge that cars are quite necessary sometimes. For example, if it's raining or if you have to transport something from A to B that you cannot pack into a bus. So we came up with this Mo system where where people could own Mo miles, and the more you bike, the more you take public transportation, the more miles you earn that you then can use for car sharing. Part of that system was also certain touch point, physical touch point, be it something, a member card. It was a bike tag that you see here in the second. That is something that you attach to your bike. For that you really, you calculate how many miles you ride with your bike. There's certain transportation cards, and then there's also a digital component, which was a smartphone app and also a terminal. Part of it was also charging stations for the city, to have it really a universal system. And a big part of the outcome of the project was what we call an experience prototype, which is basically a movie that already shows for each of those 4 personas how the system would really help them in their daily lives, how it could make a difference. And through that, we started to prototype the system Mo, which is a mobility system for the city of tomorrow. And so that is basically, we wanted to share with you a summary of where design could go and how prototyping, how a really solid process can help with the right tools to get to new innovative solutions, be it services, be it products, be it digital kind of experiences, really making it all come together. So thank you very much. Are there any questions?
So, any questions? Well, if not, I'll start by mine. to whom should I send my CV if I want to work in your company? You? You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, great. Really nice projects. And one of the things that I think we are blessed on today is that most startups understand and realize the importance of design. This is something rather new. I think the best startups always understood and the best companies always understood the importance of design, but today it's rather across the board that design is the leading point on executing and having things right on a company. So you told a story about one inventor, I think it was an inventor for the espresso machines for the microwave. How do you work with inventors? So do you allow them to approach you? How do you interface with young startups that don't really have the firepower to pay for your, I guess, rather expensive services?
Well, we like startups, so a lot of people that approach us that are indeed inventors sometimes, even very young people, like this person was really like in his 20s. We of course have to tackle these projects in a very different manner. Of course, it's good if there's a funding there and that's something is well funded, because then there will be flexibility. Even though if we say we would have like a startup rates that we calculate in these situations, I think one very important thing is that you really take them by the hand. And that you really, from a very, very early stage on, tell them how not only a design, but really their product development process will work and what it would take. So you really have to kind of paint the big picture with and for them. And you basically go on a journey together. So it has to be really there has to be a mutual understanding established first, and trust. It's very much more a personal relation in these cases for us with startups, because there are fewer people involved, because it's mostly very hands-on, which is something we like, which we consider ourselves still also being at Lunar. And I think what it takes is also from a design company side to just be honest in telling through experience, for example, a startup, how do we see the opportunities with his idea, and what would it take? So what we experience at the same time is that unexperiencedness in some cases leads to just miscalculating what it takes to create a terrific product and an amazing product.
So the work has on a revenue share model with a startup that approaches you?
Yeah, we do both of that. So we love working with startups, because those are sometimes the most exciting projects that we work on. Sometimes with bigger corporations, there are other challenges with big companies, but we love working with them, and we have different setups. Right now we're working with one startup, which is a digital startup, where we actually we work for shares in the company, because we really think that this is a great idea and we want to become part of it. So there are different kind of models that we work with, and that Lunar always work with. Coming from Silicon Valley, we always work with startups, and some of them turned into big companies, and some of them stayed small and exciting and hot. So we always love to do that. Those are exciting projects.
Okay. So I'm pretty much sure that there must be a question on the audience by now. Any question? Yeah, one there, please. No, we have a mic, don't worry.
Hello, my name is Elena, I'm a designer. Just wanted to ask, how is your team set up? Which kind of skills do you have together? Well,
we have a really pretty diverse team in all our studios. So we have designers in our team, we have researchers in our team. Sometimes some people come from the side of sociology, and so I think that's something that happened in the last couple of years. The design got really much broader, and it's not just about doing design, but it's really about understanding the needs of people. And so that's why we have a very diverse team set, which is also, I think, great fun, because it's just more interesting working together in a team with different points of view and facets. So I don't know if that answered, but we have engineers, industrial designers, interface designers.
How many people do you have?
In Munich, we are around 20 people, so that's a good startup size. In San Francisco, we are like 50. It's a bigger team. We also have a bigger engineering team in San Francisco. Chicago, it's also 10. And in Hong Kong, we have like 4 colleagues there.
So Silicon Valley is the biggest office.
It's right now still the biggest because there's a lot happening there, be it life science, be it medical, be it, companies like HP and Cisco's kind of work. So, and that's where Lunar started. So like 30 years in Silicon Valley and around 10 years in Munich. So we'll see where it will carry us.
Very well. One more here. Okay. I will still have a couple of minutes for questions, so it's okay.
What has been your most challenging project or invention?
I think I think challenging projects can be challenges of various reasons. In large corporations, we all know this can be like political reasons. I think let's look at it in 2 ways. If we're talking about startups, and maybe some of you being startups right here, there it is really what I've explained before is being able to together with a smaller company or a startup to manage to bring something, to develop a product, whether it's a software or a hardware product, and really bring it successfully to the market, because there are so many facets of that. And there's nothing in place, maybe even. So that is really might be a 2 to 3 year actually journey that you take together, and it's a constant project which also constantly takes project management, and with a startup there is budget issues and so on and so on. So that's a very sensitive kind of dealing with the whole situation. In larger corporations, it's sometimes the decisions where we don't have enough power of influence on saying this does not make sense, open eyes, you're doing something wrong. And we know it, these are things we both experience quite well. Roman, do you have anything else there?
Well, I think sometimes it's the smallest project or the smallest product that is maybe the biggest challenge. I mean, like we designed a toothbrush, and it was very complicated because so many get produced, and so sometimes it's amazing to see, that even in small, simple things that you see, there's quite some challenges, and I think they're exciting. Each project has its different challenges, and you grow with them, so that's just part of the normal product development process.
So how is 3D printing actually changing your business?
It's quite a lot. I mean, we showed in a couple of occasions that we're using a lot of prototypes, and right now we have a project for like a pharma company, and we do a lot of prototyping, because it's just something that, you see it in 3D and you experience to kind of judge what it is, and how it would feel to use it, but still until you have it in your hand and you play with it, you can't really, it's difficult to judge it. So 3D printing has been great. Any prototyping skills, be it 3D printing, be it using software, using platforms like Arduino to prototype experiences, all those things really help to get a grip of where the product is and to gradually and incrementally make it better.